here again with Straight Talk and talking to the head of vaccination of the Health Ministry, Dr. Rachel Devi, this morning. Dr. Rachel, again, we know things are getting really busy, but thank you for taking out time to speak to our listeners and users this morning.
Thank you, Vijay. It's always a pleasure joining you on these sessions because, like I said before, very important, especially more so as you know, the cases escalate by the day.
That's the sad case at the moment with more severe cases, more deaths since we last spoke. However, some great initiatives coming through the Health Ministry. Can you talk about how successful the drive-through vaccination has been? You've got more areas set up for that, and now even the drive-through swabbing areas.
Yes, Vijay, that's right. So I think it's been close to past a week now. We've done the drive-through vaccination, and not just in Suva, I think Bar did it as well. And I know a few some more sites are coming up in the coming days in the West. But it's been good. I think people are appreciating it. People are liking the fact that, you know, at the comfort of their cars, they come in, they get their jab. Even the waiting period, the 10 to 15 minutes waiting period is done in their vehicles. And, you know, there is literally minimal exposure to them with other personnels. And it's like literally now we can say that they're almost sitting and being in their own bubble per se. And that's one thing we were encouraging. Obviously, it's not possible everywhere. For obvious reasons, for logistics reasons. I mean, the last thing, people do need to understand that the vaccines are very, you know, sensitive. So one of the very things we did from the very beginning is we can't expose it, obviously, to, you know, sunlight and all that heat exposure and stuff. So those are the very reasons that, you know, we have to be very mindful when we roll out any vaccination program. These things are considered for, because I think I've mentioned before that for vaccines, the heartbeat of it is the cold chain. But yeah, the drive-thrus have seen more than 600-700 a day, and that continues, and the Saturdays as well. And I think the longer hours have been helpful for individuals leaving work. So we'll definitely continue with that for now. And you're right, the swabbing one started yesterday with the Nasori team. I think that's been going well, and people are appreciating that as well, because there's a number of people showing symptoms of COVID-like symptoms that are turning up. So that's good. And it's important to do the test because once you do the test, you know your status, you're able to, you know, self-isolate or self-isolate at home, or even, you know, if you're going to a quarantine facility, whichever the ministry works out, that's helpful, because that measure in itself helps contain the, you know, the disease.
Now, Dr. Rachel, we've seen some of the vaccination sites getting more people from late last week, early this week, of course, with the health and safety at work regulation also kicking in for employers to ensure that employees are getting their first dose and get their second dose by November 1st, first dose at least by August 1st. Now, we've seen numbers increasing. We've seen areas like Bar now sitting close to 100%. Can we talk about vaccination rates, how things are going on in different areas, and how things are going on in the Central Division, which has got the highest number of cases, severe cases and deaths?
Thanks, Vijay. Yes, the rates have been escalating gradually. And as we speak, just as of yesterday evening, we've got now 377,090 individuals who have gotten their first jab, and 73,127 individuals who've gotten their second jab. So they're fully vaccinated as we speak. And a lot of this, we know a lot has happened in the Central and in the Western Division. Northern is obviously gradually picking up. But, you know, when we look at the Central Division, we can say that the Rewa basically Nasori area, that Rewa subdivision in itself is sitting at around 85% of its target population vaccinated, and about 8.1% with second doses. The other subdivisions, specifically more like Suva, is sitting at around 60%, and Nasino 68, and all the others around, yeah, definitely 60 above. And I know Tailevu is on the lower end at 42%, but they did have cases, so they had to their teams were down, but now they're really picking up, they're escalating now. So I think that's coming up gradually. So, but overall, while we're sitting at these numbers, I know we're really at a faster pace. We really need people to be jabbed. The earlier they get the vaccination, the first dose, then only then they can obviously get the second dose. And we know we are now changing the timeframes of the second dose to 8th week. So that is coming in, kicking in very soon. So having said that, people who have been going to the vaccination site should be getting dates of 8 weeks for second dose. So yeah, basically these were the rates. And now if you look at Western, yeah, Ba as of yesterday evening was sitting at 98%. So they're doing very great, but otherwise, apart overall in the Western, they're doing really well. But I know we still definitely need to escalate our first jabs. Overall, Western is sitting at 72% of their target population vaccinated, right across from Ra to Nanroga this side. The minimum they've got is 57%. So overall, they're doing okay. But the faster we, like I think I mentioned, is the faster we're able to get the first jab in arms, the earlier we're able to get the second jab into arms as well. So that's of absolute essence there, that we really need that going. And but overall, I think we're progressing, we're getting there. And the faster we do it, like I said, it's the better it is for us.
Dr. Rachel, I'm getting a lot of questions from people who have gotten the first jabs, and they are not too close at the moment to get their second jab, but they're eager to get their second jab. I think also because of the increasing number of cases. Analysis has been done. Previously, it was the between the first and second dose, the time period was 12 weeks, and now we're looking at 8 weeks. Now, if 8 weeks you get the second dose of AstraZeneca, the efficacy remains the same, and what's the advice to the people on that?
Yes, Vijay, that's a very good and important question. And definitely we'll be doing a lot of media releases around these changes in 8 weeks pretty soon. But having said that, this change was solely brought about because the effectiveness of the vaccine, and these are very recent studies. And I must say, not just on any variant, but this was also more specifically with the Delta variant that we're facing with right now in Fiji. So with this variant, we know the studies have shown the effectiveness of the first dose and the second dose being very good as well. The second dose, this was in UK and in a few other countries, but UK studies had shown 92% protection against severe disease, hospitalization, and against death. So that is very good numbers when we look at it, 92% reduction. So like we've talked about before, it's not 100%, but we have seen a reduction in that. And that is a very good amount when we talk about deaths and severe disease and all. And that's of importance. And one of the things that study with the Delta variant in UK they did was they did that comparison between the 8th week and the 12th week, and there wasn't much of a difference. So that's where that also came about in terms of that change came about as well. And because we are we have a high number of cases of community cases across VT level, especially within Suvarnasori, and with the Delta variant, it's only appropriate that Fiji moves towards that 8th week rather than waiting for the 12th week. The better, the full vaccination status gives a way better protection than that one dose for sure. So that's important. And these studies have already been published, and one can see it online as well. And we've seen that effectiveness. Thank you.
The supply of vaccines is also, you have to manage that because now you have AstraZeneca coming, Australian government, of course, in total, they will provide 1 million doses. New Zealand, we expect New Zealand to give 500,000 doses. Of course, that is coming in the next few weeks, I believe. And now USA has come and said that they will give 150,000 doses. How are you managing that supply and demand at the moment?
Thank you, Vijay. Yeah, that's important. I mean, I must say, I'm constantly crunching numbers because we know what our target population is. We know how much we've got in the country. We know how much is in storage that's been distributed on a daily or weekly basis. So all these numbers, my team's working on behind the scenes and deploying vaccines. So yeah, that's right. Like it's a task of just crunching numbers and making sure we have the amount of doses in the country. You're right. We are getting the Moderna vaccine tomorrow, and it's coming in the evening. It is a dose sharing initiative through the United States of America and through COVAX as well. So that's been amazing. That's been really helpful. So we have 150,000 doses of it. Though having said that, remember, it's also dose vaccine for individuals. So that becomes about 75,000 individuals we're working with to jab. So, and obviously there are priority groups within that in itself. So yes, that's coming, and we'll be mobilizing that in the coming days. We'll be doing a lot more communications around the Moderna vaccine. And in terms of prioritization and where one can get it. But apart from that, you're right, there's a good constant supply from Australia, and now New Zealand will be supplying very soon. There is some vaccines to come from New Zealand pretty soon, and that's happening. So one of the things I can rest assure people is, if you've gotten your first jab, your second dose is there. Not that it's not. We have your second dose, and we plan accordingly as such. So so that's important for us, and we don't plan without it, without thinking of that. Thus, we've been very constant with our vaccine supply and planning and rolling out. I must assure the people of Fiji, we have enough vaccines for everybody. And like I mentioned before, we are exploring the potential, the opportunity for 12 above to get vaccinated. We have seen our first death at 15 years of age, I think just recently. So I know it's not easy. But you know, in the interim, very immediate, as adults, we are the ones who can play an important part in protecting our children. But having said that, Vijay, I think we've been talking about this before, and I want to say it again, because, you know, there's an emphasis to it. Vaccination is not the only answer. We need to continue to do the masking. We need to continue to do the social distancing and staying within your own bubbles. And avoid the necessary. There's no school, so what are kids doing outside? Okay, they can do their studies at home, and also these are important things that I think individuals need to be taking care of at the moment, and reduce that risk on children as well through that means. And that needs to continue. That needs to continue as we speak, because remember, our population, not all of them are jabbed. We're not going to achieve herd immunity unless there's a good amount of people out there vaccinated and fully vaccinated. So, so we really need to be mindful. While we've got loads of vaccines coming in, it's important that we continue with our containment measures.
Now, the issue in relation to pregnant women, we've been getting calls and messages in relation to them. Can they get vaccinated? I had some messages come in from some women who are in their final trimester. They want to know if they can get vaccinated. What's your advice on that?
Thanks, Vijay. Yes, and very importantly, apart from what we're going to talk about, it's probably going to be a smaller portion of what we talked about earlier this week through the Fiji National University, FNU, the online live sessions on social media. And if women are listening to me right now, they can always revert back to that as well, because there was a good amount of information we shared about pregnancy, vaccination in pregnancy. But basically, if I can speak, well, it is okay to get that vaccination. It's safe, because we're in this place where we are having a lot of COVID cases across the country, and we know there has been quite a number of people who are pregnant, women who are pregnant and have been COVID positive. And even to the point, I know of scenarios where women have unfortunately lost their child, had miscarriages, or stillborns of that as well. So these are scenarios we really want to avoid, and even to the point, the harm to the mom is greater if they become COVID positive and they are pregnant as well. And now, since we have widespread community transmission, we are encouraging women to get vaccinated, and now more so with the Moderna that's coming in. Please note that the AstraZeneca can also be given in pregnancy. That can be given in pregnancy, and it does reduce severe disease as well. Similarly, there is twofold of protection there. Firstly, obviously for the mom as well as for the baby as well. We know that with the mom developing antibodies, basically the soldiers that fight off the virus, that soldiers also pass through the placenta, the that passage between that connection between mom and the baby that's in your womb. So it passes them, and they have that immunity, the protection as well. But apart from that, we really know that pregnant women are at a higher risk with COVID-19 if they do get infected. And the last thing we would want is that vulnerability getting to them. So while I say we can administer either AstraZeneca or Moderna, one of the reasons why we've chosen Moderna for now for pregnant women as we go forward while we have them coming in country, is because the first and the second dose is a shorter duration. Dose 1 you get today, dose 2 you get 28 days later, and within the next few weeks you're fully vaccinated, you're fully protected. That's how good it is. So that's the benefit of Moderna over here. So it's safe in all periods, all terms of a pregnancy, either it be the first, second, or third phase of the pregnancy, whichever it is, first 3 months, second 3 months, or the last 3 months. It's safe, and it's I think one should opt for that, because a woman's life is equally important in this context, and also obviously the child as well. So it's like I said, there's a lot more information that it was shared on that online session, and I believe in the coming week or two we will be again. But yeah, just get well informed, and our teams on the ground are already working in identifying the pregnant women across the country that are eligible now for the Moderna vaccine. And can get them as early as next week, Monday, Vijay. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Rachel, for that clarification. So there you go. If you're pregnant and concerned, worried, rightly so, but clarification given there that you can get vaccinated to keep yourself safe and your baby safe. Now, in relation to this issue has come up a number of times through the course of the reporting process every day from Dr. James Fong. From the statistics that we have received, not one person at the moment has died in Fiji who's fully vaccinated and after 14 days of the efficacy of 92% kicking in. We have seen reports of majority of them unvaccinated, unfortunately, and the others only had their first dose. Can you please confirm for us, because there's also things being said by different individuals about certain people getting fully vaccinated and dying in Fiji?
Thank you, Vijay. Yes, any death in Fiji is an unfortunate event, I must say, especially from COVID-19 when we have the vaccines in Fiji right now as we speak. And you're right in saying that, every individual that has passed away with COVID-19 with a severe disease, none of them are fully vaccinated. and majority of them, there was just a minority that had gotten their first jab, and that was very early in the phase of the first jab, just within the few weeks. And we really need to give that time, for the antibody to develop and it to continue to develop, and that level of protection kicking in. Basically, you're saying you've got the jab today doesn't mean tomorrow your immune system is ready to kick that virus out. It doesn't work that way. So I mean, I've had even people ask me, I'm positive my partner, my husband, or whosoever is still not vaccinated, can he go now to get the jab? No, I mean, firstly, obviously, in those instances, they do need to isolate. But having said that, that is unfortunate, but the vaccine doesn't kick in within the day or two. It takes it, like we say, it's a preventative measure. Once we get the jab, it creates that immunity response, that response within our body to create the antibodies, the soldiers that it needs to fight off that virus. And that in itself, you can imagine, takes time. It probably will, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks or a bit more to get that boost that you need with the first jab. But the second jab is what literally is the ceiling on the, it's like an icing on the cake, which sort of like gives us that level of protection, which is we're talking about. And to date, with studies, we've seen that 92% with the recent studies as well. So yeah, none of them have died who were fully vaccinated. We haven't seen that. And the most unfortunate thing, Vijay, is that we're seeing a lot of elderly. We already don't have a very huge population of the elderly in Fiji right now. It's our population, Fijian population, is made of a lot of young people, and to lose the old in this place it's not nice. Trust me, it's just not a nice feeling.
There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation going on about the unfortunate death in relation to one of your colleagues, a medical doctor who also died, succumbed to COVID-19, and misinformation going around that he was fully vaccinated, and health ministry has not revealed that. Can you clarify that for us? Because as far as we know, that he had only just gotten his first dose.
Thanks, Vijay. Yes, that's right. I mean, when we did hear of that unfortunate event, we checked. We checked because, I mean, I know as healthcare workers, we were offered the vaccine very early, as early as even March, and even in April. But unfortunately, this particular individual hadn't gotten his vaccine till, I think, just a week or so before he passed away. And unfortunate. So I mean, it was a sad loss for the medical fraternity, and one of our own. It's just got more real, So I mean, I can never overemphasize the reason to get vaccinated. Like I said before, I'll say it again. It's an important public health measure, and and it's done all the necessary dues. It wasn't just pushed on us. It's followed every single process that it ever had to. And that's how we are at this stage. And to a huge level, this vaccine is protecting us right now. But for us to not see any more of those deaths, we need a much greater population to be vaccinated and to be fully vaccinated.
The other question arising is how effective is AstraZeneca and now Moderna? How effective are they with dealing with the Delta variant?
Thanks, Vijay. I think I mentioned this earlier as well, and I'll definitely re-emphasize it because it's of essence here. The effectiveness of these vaccines with the obvious studies with AstraZeneca is really great against the Delta variant. I mean, not really. It's not really great. Would be 100%, but it is close to being very good at, at sitting at 92% with the 2 doses. With the first dose, I think it's about 72, 73, 76% around, but in the 70s. With the first dose, you get that level of protection, but still with the second dose, with the booster given, you get that extra added huge layer of protection of 92% reduction in severe disease, hospitalization, and some are even asymptomatic, I must say. A lot of my, like, Vijay, a lot of healthcare workers have come out positive in these recent days. And a lot of them had received both their doses. And, you can probably go ask them. Fiji is a small place. You can always, I'm pretty sure people know each other so well that you can always ask healthcare workers if they got COVID and they were fully vaccinated, how did they feel? I know majority, almost all said like it felt like a normal flu and it was all over again within a few days, or some were literally asymptomatic. And these are individuals we've seen that have been fully vaccinated. And so that's of essence. And I think the Delta variant and the AstraZeneca vaccine has shown good results. And while it's available to Fiji, even more the reason for us to to go get that jab. And similarly we haven't seen I haven't seen much results in Moderna and the Delta variant. They're probably not so published, but I'll definitely look into that one. But I know Pfizer and AstraZeneca are equally doing very good in terms of against the Delta variant.
We discussed this earlier, the unfortunate death of the 15-year-old girl, and it was confirmed by Dr. Fong after investigations that she unfortunately died due to COVID-19. Of course, those below 18 years cannot get vaccinated. A lot of parents, I know they have been having sleepless nights in relation to that, knowing they have children. And what is the plan going forward for children who are below the age of 18? Are any negotiations underway? We know WHO is also looking into this area. How are discussions progressing on that?
Thanks, Vijay. Yes, that's right. I know I've even asked, when are you getting this, or when can I get, or even to the point, can I give Moderna to my teenager? There are studies still on the way for Moderna for sure, but I've heard they're coming out very soon. But yeah, that was a very unfortunate death, I must say. We know we've seen that was the first death amongst that age population. But yes, definitely we are exploring that opportunity. We're working very closely with UNICEF on this one. UNICEF is usually the one that works very closely in terms of the vaccine supplies and all in Fiji and globally as well, while WHO becomes the technical arm for things. So we're working closely with WHO and UNICEF on these recent updates and uptakes, and we are definitely exploring the Pfizer vaccine right now for our teenage kids, and also hopefully we get some good results out of Moderna very soon, that it can be eligible for 12 to 16, 12 to 18 or so. Yeah.
There's people also wondering about, after they are fully vaccinated, what should they be doing? Of course, we haven't reached herd immunity. This issue also keeps coming up. Why do you have to wear masks and follow all the protocols if you are fully vaccinated? They're saying that means there's no reason to get vaccinated. Can you clear the air for these people?
That's right, Vijay. That's a very common question being asked right now, and people are saying, okay, if I've been fully vaccinated, why do I need to do all these various things? But the whole country is not fully vaccinated. I think I've just mentioned to us when we look at national numbers, out of the whole country of our target population right now, only about 12.5% people are fully vaccinated. So, we're not in that space, we're not in that place that we can say that, okay, we can relax all measures. We don't do all these social distancing. We don't, we don't wear a mask and all. We can't, we're not in that place to do that right now. So I know one day we will, but that time is not right now. We are very far away from having a population which is fully vaccinated right now. So and while you for example, if I'm fully vaccinated, doesn't mean I can't become a carrier of the virus. And if I'm a carrier of the virus and I'm a bit symptomatic or so, I can definitely shed the virus in the air, and the others around me who are not vaccinated can get infected. That's another important reason as well. So thus the reason why we continue the containment measures. We continue with the masking, we continue with the hand washing and hand sanitization, we continue with the social distancing, we continue to stay within our bubbles, we continue to avoid unnecessary movements and having, and to top it off right now, if I can say, even children, they don't need to go anywhere. They can stay home. I know they're children that love to go out and play, but still they need to stay home right now, and trying to other programs and everything that the Ministry of Education is working on. So they don't need to go anywhere. Just keep them at home, keep them safer there at the moment while you can. So that's one thing, that's the main reason, Vijay.
Now, Dr. Rachel, the question keeps coming up, and people still, there's a group of people still deciding on whether they should get vaccinated or not. There's confusion. There's still fear. Some people are afraid of the needle. Some people still afraid because of religious issues being raised. And of course, we are talking to religious leaders to debunk those things. That will remain an issue, and it has remained an issue not only in Fiji, but we can see great vaccine hesitancy in countries like Papua New Guinea, who've just got 0.6% of their eligible population vaccinated so far, and a real concern in countries like those. So it's not just something that we are battling with only here in Fiji. What do you see happening in the next 3 months in our country if things do not change quickly, with more people getting their first dose and then getting their second dose?
Yeah, Vijay, that's while we're trying to mitigate that issue of having low coverages by having the right information gone out and getting individuals vaccinated and early as possible, if we definitely don't get this vaccine out into arms and people are not vaccinated in a very timely manner, we can definitely continue to see these number of cases, and it could increase. And we know a lot of people are without job right now. I mean, it's not just a health issue, and it wouldn't just be right. I mean, even right now, it's when we talk about things, it just doesn't become a health issue. It becomes a social issue, becomes an economic issue as well. So the earlier we get the jab, the faster we're able to get our lives back to normal. I mean, I miss those days when I'm able to hug my friends and meet them, greet them, spend some time with them, and even go to work in a normal manner, or even have everybody else go to work. Right now, so many people have been without a job for months. Thankful to God, we've got the land to go back to, but there's a lot of people who who've got jobs that they definitely want to go back to. So in a few months, it all depends on us as Fijians, people of this land. It goes back to us that if we're in this fight together, I know we can achieve it a lot earlier than we ever imagined it to be. So I think the onus is on us, and it's on us as responsible citizens of this country, as people who love each other. I miss those days when we could just meet. I mean, even to the point some healthcare workers haven't met their own family, their own children for months. I didn't see my family for more than 2 months. And those things are not easy. And there's some people battling this day in, day out for months. And this will continue till we're able to contain it, till we're able to control it. So I know next 3 months, the whole year is at stake at us, but I think our whole lives is at stake at this point in time. Our whole future is at stake. I don't think so. We would want to see a repeat of what we saw in the 1800s with measles, which wiped away about a third of our population. Back then we didn't have vaccines, but now we do. And we thank God for that. Thank God that the science developed and we were able to develop vaccines at such a pace. So yeah, the impact can be huge, but it can be overcome if we as Fijians just work together on this.
And before we finish off, definitely you were cheering very hard last Saturday night, Flying Fijians playing against the All Blacks, a grand game in New Zealand. Repeat again tomorrow night in Hamilton. Flying Fijians looking sharp, and they will also be wearing Vaccinate Fiji jerseys. How do you feel about that?
I think honestly, it's good advocacy. You know, one thing that brings this country together and makes everybody stand still is rugby. Yeah? We all love that game. We all enjoy it. I know this time around people have not been able to watch it together. Yeah, they've been watching it from a distance. They've been watching it probably alone rather than shouting together as a family, as a community. So it's, I think we really want to get back to that place where we can do this together again. And I'm glad that they came on board to, support this campaign, because I know there's a lot of people who believe in it. And I think while it's not the only solution, it is an important solution. So vaccinate Fiji.
Yes, Dr. Rachel Devi, thank you very much for your time this morning, and you have a good weekend. And of course, we will all be cheering for Fiji come this weekend when they take on the All Blacks. Vaccinate Fiji, stay safe, and control what you can control.
Thanks, Vijay.